Hey everybody, Wild Man Wes here.
And I'm Jefe.
And welcome to What's Your Poison? So, a while back I went to Wisconsin with my girlfriend before a lot of this whole pandemic and, no traveling situation occurred. And I went on a big, buying beer spree. And something that was suggested to me was from a brewery from New Glarus.
Oh, just a little guy named New Glarus, yeah.
Oh, I know. I'd never heard of it, hey, I'm just a boy from Illinois, who doesn't know any better. But, yeah, I've tried a couple of them, and I really enjoyed it, and we've been talking about this, hanging out a lot with a lot of reviews we've done in the past that we really needed to do this, and
absolutely,
what better time? So, we have 4 of these from New Glarus. The first one is...
I just wanted to point out that this New Glarus logos and the artwork and everything on here, it's really, really cool just that they have such an impression on Wisconsin. Really, the reason being is because they are only sold exclusively in Wisconsin. They do not sell outside of the state. That's kind of one of the things that a lot of people from our area will travel a couple hours north just to get some New Glarus beer. Just as soon as you cross the border, there's places that have them. So I just wanted to show everybody, it says only in Wisconsin right on here. Only in Wisconsin. So they really pride themselves on that, and that becomes a really big part of their identity, is that they are straight out of Wisconsin.
Exactly. So that being said, we have 4 different types of New Glarus beer. First one is Spotted Cow. This is the one that I've had, the first one I had. And
it's the one that most people are familiar with when it comes to New Glarus. When most people say, "Hey, headed up to Wisconsin, get some Spotted Cow, bring it back, I'll pay you back."
It's definitely the staple of the New Glarus Brewing. The next one we have is 2 Women Lager,
which is another one that's been around with them for a long time. Most people who have had a few New Glarus beers have had this one as well, outside of Spotted Cow.
Third one up, we have the Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever is an interesting style. It's a Bock style beer, and which is, again, sticks with that very German lagering style of beer. And this is a seasonal one that they come out with every once in a while. It's not a bad beer. I'm real excited to have it again. I don't know, actually, now that I think about it, I may not have had this one. I know I've heard of it.
I haven't had the 2 Women Lager or the Cabin Fever, but the 4th one I have had, and it's their Coffee Stout.
The Coffee Stout's one I have not had, and actually I was really surprised to see this in the fridge because not a lot of the seasonal beers that I haven't heard from it. I want to actually say that I've actually made it to that brewery and got a really nice tour of the place. It's a kind of a self-driven tour. So you kind of walk in, you pay for your admission to go through the tour, and then you can go into any of the major areas. They have it really easily labeled, so you can go down certain hallways, and you can find other people that work there, and they'll sit there and they'll talk to you about it. They have an original copper fermenter from Germany that the original family had bought it off of another family, and then sent it over to Wisconsin. So
that's pretty awesome.
Straight out of Germany. It's old. And they still use it to this day. It's right next to all their brand new ones, but they have some really old fermenters, the copper fermenters in there. They're really, really cool.
Well, once this whole situation dies down around with everything going on, I'm hoping to get there.
Absolutely.
But before we do that, we get to try out some beers.
Heck yeah!
Let's get started. So our first beer out of the New Glarus quad that we have today is the Spotted Cow. This is the traditional go-to for a lot of people that have been to New Glarus apparently, and it's definitely the one that they want to introduce you to first, to give you an idea of what they have to offer with their products. So, and I've had this before, like I said, and you said you've had this before, so obviously we know what we're expecting.
Right, so Spotted Cow is, what are they, it's an ale, a cream ale, a light ale. It's right up there with just a solid American beer. And this is what they're known for. A lot of people rant and rave about this beer, and I'm gonna sit here and we're gonna talk a little bit about maybe how, in a blind taste test, you may not be able to pick out how amazing this beer is, if you ask me. But
clear.
It is really nice and clear, yellow straw,
nice
color to it. Yes, really good carbonation. Maybe you can just smell the pale malt right on top. It smells like beer. It smells like beer and it looks like beer. Let's see if it tastes like beer.
I'm sure it will.
Really creamy, smooth. And I say creamy just because it just kind of dances on the tongue. It's not thick really. Make more of a medium body. Drinks like it should be hazier than it is, really. Like, kind of looking at it, it's gotten a little more, the more the bubbles have kind of gone through it.
It looks champagne-y,
yeah,
a little bit, but it tastes differently than what you would consider like a champagne beer.
Right. So yeah, looking at these, the creamy aftertones, a little bit of flavor, but yeah, it really does drink like straight up just American beer.
Yep.
Let me ask you, do you think that this is something that is worthy of ranting and raving about?
Well,
is it worth the couple-hour drive to go up north and get some of this across the border?
I mean, to be honest, yes and no. I know I'm waffling, folks, but I would say it's definitely worth like a one try if you're interested.
Okay.
If you're gonna keep going, you might want to get something a little bit different. You might want to get more than just a Spotted Cow. You know, with all the.
I say that in any case.
Well, yes, but
there are some people who literally go up there just for Spotted Cow.
I wouldn't go up there just for that. I mean, it is good. It's refreshing. It's delicious.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, it's very similar to like a standard beer.
It is. It really is just like it is a standard beer, if you ask me.
And that kind of creamy note to it.
Sure.
Gives it a little bit more of an upside to a standard.
There's not a bitter bite,
no.
Which I think is really refreshing, and why it can be so easily drank. Probably hit a little bit of whiter. I feel like if you drink wheat beers, you'd probably be able to drink this and still find it very drinkable.
Well, yeah, for what this is, it is. It's slightly hearty, but it does tend to go down like water.
Yeah, it really. I mean, you can tell we've just been talking about this for a few seconds. We're almost done. Yeah, we're only splitting a beer, but still, like, if you think about it, this is really, really easy drinking.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why people enjoy it.
Spiraling it. It just.
Yeah, there's not a lot of. Okay, well, looking at it that way, then, do you see any downsides to the beer?
Not really.
I think that's why people like it so much.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's why people like it so much, because it's not necessarily that the beer is giving you something that is so profound and crazy, but I feel like it's a solid, good go-to. If I just wanted to have an easy drinking beer around the house, this would be an easy pick.
I totally understand. I wouldn't say it's like the perfect beer.
Sure.
But it's up there. It definitely checks quite a lot of the boxes.
Absolutely.
For a grading purpose, I'm going to go ahead and give this one at least a solid 4 out of 5 pounds.
I agree with that 4. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that it is definitely, like, this is, oh my god, you have to have this. I'm not saying that, but I am saying, like, if craft beer is your thing and you're around Wisconsin, definitely look into some New Glarus, and Spotted Cow is the one. So when people are talking about it, that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely on that one. Well, we've got one down in the books that had a pretty decent grade. Let's see how the other 3 fare to the other one. So let's get started.
All right, on to our second beer for today. It is Two Women Lager. So, like, not really a story behind the beer, but kind of a little bit behind the beer idea. Lagering, or beer making in general, this being a lager, lagering was at one point a women's profession. So brewing in general, historically speaking, was sought out by women, not just women in general, like who were cooking, but they were called alewives, and a lot of them ended up being people who were widowed. So these widows had to support their families, and one of the best businesses that women could get into back in those days was making beer. Because if you could make a good beer and keep people coming in and buying your beer, then you'd be really good to go.
And what a business it became.
What a business it became. So, like, it is a business that definitely started with women, and obviously, like, these days it has become very much a man's game of beer, but I highly recommend people check out breweries that are run by women, or actually New Belgium is mostly women who own the company. It's a company, it is a employee-owned company, but a lot of the CEOs, a lot of the head people, like most of them, I want to say all of them, but most of them, I want to say, are women. I've met some of these people, and they're really, really cool, got a really good head on their shoulders, and New Belgium is one of the better breweries in the country when it's come to starting from nothing and becoming something. Right. Obviously with Fat Tire, but they've done so many other beers since that. Right now, they're Voodoo Ranger. Anyway, that's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Women rock.
Yes, they do.
So this is the Two Women Lager. It's kind of just as an homage to the women who have made beer their livelihood. So this is Two Women Lager. It's gonna, easily. The reason why we did these two beers, one right after the other, they look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very easy drinking light beers. Oh, I'm not gonna give myself a lot of head there. I know.
Oh.
Anyway, so this is a lot more clear. Not to say a lot more clear, but definitely more clear than the last beer that we just had.
A little more amber.
Color, yeah, a little bit of amber, but like honestly, the color is so similar that some people may not be able to tell.
Not as much carbonation. I mean, there is, but I mean, because when we were pouring the Spotted Cow, it was bubbling out. This one is more subtle.
The aroma on this is a little bit more of a hop bitter. And not necessarily like IPA hop bitter, but whereas the last one was more of a malt backbone, this one it's going to be more of a balanced backbone. So you're getting more of the hops. The last one, I didn't get any hop bitterness. This one, I think, is going to be more of a middle of the road balance.
Okay.
That is clean, crisp, a lot more flavor going around on the tongue, but super light.
Yeah.
Like really light. Like that malted barley and hop balance really does, it does like, it dances well together.
I mean, even for a lager, I mean, that is rather light. I mean, because we've had a lot of different lagers.
Sure.
Because even when we look at like Robertson's with the Trooper Ale, very hearty, very
more of an English style beer. Yeah, this is definitely an American like lager. Very similar though, still like we say American lager, but still brewed in a German tradition where the ingredients are very pure. It's very clean. It's very easy light drinking.
There's a hint of sweetness, I think, maybe slightly.
Not from the malt for sure.
Yeah.
This is very. Kind of, it lingers. Yeah, it lingers.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Very good way. I mean, like with the Spotted Cow, with that creaminess, it lingered. I mean, it lingered fine.
Sure,
this one,
but it was really soft. This one's got more of a slightly bolder flavor to it.
And it's delicious, though.
Yeah, it really makes it, like,
this
makes you punch more.
This is definitely a step up above Spotted Cow slightly.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4.25.
Okay, I'm just going to make it even with 4. I think that this is really right up along the line as Spotted Cow. If you're just looking for a solid, easy drinking light beer, it's right up there with it. I do feel like that there's some people that if I were to pour both of them into a glass, I forget which one I had in my hand. I don't know if most people would be able to tell the difference. If you were drinking it all day, I understand. But I feel like most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference between this and the Spotted Cow, to be honest. So I still say it's a solid 4. It's a good, easy drinking light beer. It's a really well-crafted beer. It's clean. It's tasty. I'm not seeing a downside. I'm just not seeing anything that makes me go...
I feel you on that one. Well, while we're finishing up these, much like a lot of people in the world right now, we're going to have to be trying out... We're going to have to try out something that we've probably been dealing with everybody else in the world. We're going to be dealing with some cabin fever. So get ready. It's going to be intense. All right, so for round 3, we have the Cabin Fever Honeyback.
So this is a little bit lighter version of the traditional Bock that comes from Germany, which is normally a little bit darker, heavier. But they take the 2-row barley from Wisconsin, European hops that they grow in the lab, and then they added the sweet clover honey to kind of top it off. So this is going to be a little bit lighter than an actual Bock that we would normally see, but they've been making these Bocks in Wisconsin, the honey style Bock, for over 150 years. So these guys know what they're doing. So that's pretty cool.
Let's hope. Yeah, so far we've right. Whoa.
See, look at the theme we got going on here. They all look almost identical.
Oh man.
So that'd be really interesting. I want a flight of new Glarus beers, and you get the flight, and they all look exactly the same.
And they don't tell you what's
they
what.
Don't tell you what's what.
And you sit there and go,
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Figured it out.
So yeah, the exact same color.
Hardly any
exact same
carbonation.
Carbonation. No, I'd say no. You're right. There's a little less carbonation, but I got the same amount of head as the first one I had.
Very, very symmetrical. You know. I
little bit of malty sweet there.
Getting a little of that honey clove.
A little bit.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. It has some that clove is what's making it kind of smooth. That clove honey.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, if this was at a blind beer tasting, I would never guess that this is a Bock. But
No.
I would definitely be able to pull out that honey, man. Holy cow.
Whew.
Like, it's not overwhelmingly sweet, but
No.
it definitely catches you off guard. Even if you're told, hey, this is a honey Bock, okay, well, it's, you know it's going to be sweet, but now that is sweet.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of things about like looks can be deceiving and
Yeah.
taste can be deceiving, and this one, it's deceptive, but I wouldn't say for the worst. I mean, it's
No, it really is.
definitely-
Like, your taste buds get more than what your eyes and brain are telling you. Like, oh, that's going to be a boring beer.
Yes, it's going to be a rather light beer.
With a light beer. But then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, there's a...
Rather.
Oh, my.
Yeah, man, you're getting gassy over there, buddy.
So it's not like sugar sweet.
No.
You could definitely tell it's honey.
Mm-hmm.
I would be surprised. I would probably say sugar cane or something if I didn't know it was honey.
Mm-hmm.
But it really mixes well with the body of the beer. It's more of like a medium body. It looks really light, but like the thickness, definitely more of a medium, just because of that flavor profile.
The body of it reminds me slightly like a honey vice, but not quite.
Yeah, no, that's very similar. Yes, I'd say it's very similar.
The body's a little different. The flavor is
Yeah.
spot on.
I'd say the flavor is very similar to the honey Weiss. Absolutely. I don't know. I'm enjoying the crap out of this guy.
So am I.
So I still feel like we're drinking 3 light beers that have very, very subtle differences.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, that honey kind of puts me over the edge. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
I'll give it 4.5 out of 5. That's a solid. I like the sweetness. I really do. It brings it out. I would rather have a 6-pack of that than the last 2 beers.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. You nailed it. 4.5 on this one because I mean, hey, very much like the other ones we've had. They may not be considered a perfect beer, but they are damn close. And I mean, whew.
Well crafted. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, these guys have a really good track record of making some very tasty beers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not knocking them on any of it. I just, again, when I'm looking for a beer, I am looking for something that's going to impress me. I am still giving props to the craft that was put into these beers because they are really good, well-balanced beers, but nothing about them is making me go, holy crap. You know, like, I like to be wowed with my beer. Which, of course, it's just my preference, but still, like, I do like this a lot. 4.5 is a pretty high grade to give a beer.
It's like, we've had a lot of beers throughout these reviews that have really wowed us, have like thrown us over the top.
Sure.
These come close. They may not be right up on that line or that level, but they are, like I said, they are damn close.
The way that I'm grading this is basically, I ain't mad.
I ain't mad either. We finished 3 beers that are, somewhat light in body.
Definitely.
We're gonna go on something a little heavier. Dark. Stay tuned. We'll be right. So finishing off for round 4, we have the Coffee Stout. Now this one has, let's see, if I remember correctly, has roasted malts, American hops, and an extravagant flavor, as they put it. So,
extravagant.
Very.
I wonder if it's coffee.
One can only imagine.
I've never had this one before, so I'm very, very excited to try it.
It's been a while since I've had it. The last time I had it, I remember it was pretty good. I mean, we've had some coffee stouts on this channel before, and this one I would say is fairly up there. Maybe not, like, similar to what we've had before. Maybe it might top it. You never know.
Pours like a stout, looks like a stout.
Mm-hmm. Very dark.
Yes, sir. That is dark. That is a stout right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The aroma's not too much coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not getting a lot of there. I'm not getting any more than.
It could be because of the hops. You never know.
Yeah, it could be.
All right, let's see. Definitely more on the coffee on the taste.
Yeah, you get a lot of the coffee on the taste. I'm not getting like, it's not like, pow, coffee.
No.
That's easy, light drinking coffee beer, for sure.
Definitely a good winter beer.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say even a good fall beer, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of lighter in the body than I expected.
Yeah, definitely in the fall it'd be good for like bonfire.
Yeah.
Especially when the weather gets nice and cold and...
Yeah, definitely an autumn beer. This is really light still.
I know, yeah, for a stout, it's very, very thin, very light-bodied for a stout.
Yeah, I would have thought this was a porter. If you just would have poured this for me and I would have drank it, yeah, I would have thought it was a porter. It's really, really light. You get in the robust malt flavor.
Mm-hmm.
The coffee kind of lingers. It's not. I guess like the more it sits there, the more coffee I'm getting, the more I'm drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad.
No, it's not. I mean it's a lot different from when I had it the first time.
Okay.
So I remember when I first had it. I had it straight out of the cooler, like ice cold. So that could have varied differently on the flavor.
Sure.
And,
Yeah, we let this sit out for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it tastes very decent when it rests in your stomach. Maybe not so much. I mean, it's
that's where it kind of hits a little heavy. Like as it's going down, the heavier it gets. I can kind of just feel it.
Yeah. So I'm getting the idea that you're a little. I wouldn't say you're not leery on it, but you're more.
No.
It's kind of one of those. Kind of a hard reading on this one.
A little bit. I'm not having a hard time telling whether or not it's a good beer. I mean, it's a solid beer.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely a solid beer. I give it 4 pounds.
4 pounds?
4 pounds is pretty good. Yeah, for sure.
4 pounds. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say 3 3/4 on this one, just because.
And honestly, maybe I should go a little bit lower, but I'm gonna stick with 4. But I just say I probably say that only because I was expecting a little more. It's got the characteristics of a malty stout with a little bit of sweetness, but I think that sweetness honestly comes from the coffee and the malted barley. It blends really well. Yeah, so easily a really well-balanced beer when it comes to this.
I gotcha. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this review on the 4 beers from New Glarus. Make sure that you leave a thumbs up, leave a thumbs down if you think that these beers should have gotten a better review. Share on social media, and as always, push that little red button, and don't forget to ring the bell for instant notifications on Dragonfire Entertainment. Also, if there's anything you want to see in future content, we've got a comment section below. Be sure you leave a request in there, because we've been thinking about maybe doing some beer verses again soon, and everything else, maybe do some hybrids. But also, be sure you check out Jefe's new channel that's come out on YouTube, Beer You, Beer Me. He just put out a episode where we did the unlabeled game.
Yes, so Unlabeled is a blind beer taste testing game, and I had him and 2 other friends join me, and we had a lot of fun with that. So,
gosh, a lot of deleted scenes, but he narrowed it down to 15 minutes almost, and that was great.
I did, yeah. So the idea of the channel is just to talk more about beer, where it comes from, what the history is, and how to really experience a beer.
Yeah. Hopefully you look forward to it, and make sure that you subscribe as well. Other than that, I'm Wildman Wes.
I'm Jefe.
And we will see you next time on What's Your Poison. Take care.